People often wonder why some relationships thrive effortlessly while others fade away. Shi Heng Yi, a Shaolin master known for his wisdom on inner growth, reminds us that love, real connection, doesn't come by accident. People fall in love with you for only two reasons: who you are and how you make them feel. When we talk about love, most people imagine something spontaneous, magical, even mysterious, as if it appears out of nowhere and sweeps us off our feet. But the truth is, most of what we call love at first sight is not love at all. It's fascination. It's curiosity. It's attraction built on an illusion. People fall for what they see, the appearance, the confidence, the way someone moves or speaks. And for a brief moment, that illusion feels real. It feels powerful. But what we often forget is that illusions have an expiry date. Every person you meet presents an image, a mask shaped by how they want to be perceived. Some people spend their lives polishing that mask. They learn how to look successful, how to sound interesting, how to project charm, and for a time that works. But eventually every image cracks under the weight of reality. The question is not how long you can maintain the illusion. It's what remains when the illusion fades. Shi Heng Yi often reminds us that everything external is temporary. The body changes, the voice changes, even personality, which many mistake for identity, shifts with experience. So if someone falls in love with you only because of what they see, your looks, your achievements, your charisma, they are not really in love with you. They are in love with the idea of you. The moment life challenges that idea, the illusion dissolves, and the feeling they called love disappears with it. That's why so many relationships begin with passion but end in confusion. We fall in love with projections, not people. We fall in love with what we want to see, not what is actually there. And that's why disappointment hurts so much. It's not that the other person changed, it's that the illusion ended. The deeper truth is that attraction to appearances is a reflection of our own inner emptiness. We are drawn to what we believe we lack. If we feel insecure, we seek someone confident. If we feel lost, we seek someone who seems grounded. If we feel insignificant, we're drawn to those who appear powerful. But in doing so, we're not connecting, we're compensating. We're trying to fill a void, not share wholeness. The mind projects beauty where it desires comfort. This is why real love, the kind that endures, never begins with appearance, it begins with presence. When you meet someone whose stillness calms your mind, whose honesty makes you feel safe, whose energy reminds you of what peace feels like, that's when connection starts to transcend illusion. So ask yourself, what kind of love are you attracting? If people are drawn to your surface, it's because your energy remains on the surface too. You speak in appearances, you live in performance, you chase validation. But if you cultivate depth, if you take time to understand who you are beneath the labels and masks, you begin to radiate something entirely different. Your presence becomes stable. Your confidence no longer depends on attention. You become magnetic, not because you are trying to impress, but because you are simply irreal. And being real doesn't mean being perfect. It means being grounded enough to not hide behind illusion. It means allowing others to see you, your strength, your flaws, your process of becoming. That kind of honesty is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. People sense when they are in the presence of authenticity. They relax, they trust, they feel something that surface beauty can never offer, truth. So remember this, the illusion might attract attention, but only authenticity sustains connection. Don't invest your energy into being liked, invest it into being known. Because when the mask finally drops, the only thing that keeps love alive is the depth of your truth. And if you can stand in that truth, quietly, confidently, without the need for applause, you'll notice something remarkable. those who are meant for you will stop chasing the image and start seeing you. And that is where real love begins. When we speak about the first real reason people fall in love with you, who you are rare, we're not talking about personality traits or social roles. Those are surface level expressions, constantly changing depending on where you are, who you're with, and what you're doing. Who you are in the deeper sense is something more stable, more rooted. It's the essence of your being, your values, your awareness, your way of seeing and responding to the world. And this, more than anything else, determines the quality of love you attract and the depth of connection you can sustain. Shi Heng Yi often says that the outer world is a reflection of the inner one. The relationships you experience mirror your level of self-understanding. If you are confused within, your connections will be filled with confusion. If you live in conflict with yourself, that same energy will echo through the people you draw into your life. So, if you want to experience a higher form of love, one that is peaceful, genuine, and resilient, you must first become the kind of person capable of holding that energy. Now, this is where many people misunderstand love. They think it's something that happens to them, as if love is a lightning strike that hits from the outside. But in truth, love is recognition. When someone meets you, they subconsciously sense the alignment or misalignment within you. They feel the harmony or the chaos you carry. And whether they can explain it or not, that energy determines whether they are drawn closer or quietly step back. People don't fall in love with the details of your life. They fall in love with the frequency you emit. To know who you are means to live from the inside out. It means your actions, your words, your decisions, all rise from a place of integrity. You are no longer performing to meet expectations or seeking love through approval. Instead, your presence communicates something silent but powerful: peace. And that peace becomes magnetic. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it resonates deeply because it's rare. People are starving for authenticity in a world built on performance. Most of what we see today, online, in social circles, even in relationships, is filtered and curated. So when you meet someone who doesn't pretend, someone whose calm comes from real self-knowledge, it stands out. You can't fake that kind of stability. It's felt immediately, in the tone of your voice, in your posture, in how you listen rather than react. Understanding who you are doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you are in relationship with yourself. You know your fears, your strengths, your values, your boundaries, and you live in alignment with them. This alignment creates trust, not just for others, but for yourself. You stop abandoning your truth just to be accepted, and that quiet strength radiates outward. When people fall in love with you for who you are, they're responding to that inner clarity. They sense that you are not depending on them to complete you, and paradoxically that is what draws them closer, because real love cannot breathe in an atmosphere of need. It thrives in freedom, not dependency. When you stand whole within yourself, you create the space for another person to be whole too. That's when love becomes a shared evolution rather than a silent transaction of needs. The greatest act of love, then, is not to seek validation from others, but to cultivate depth within yourself. Ask, what kind of energy do I bring into the room? Is it peace or tension? Is it presence or distraction? Every moment, you are teaching people how to love you by the way you love yourself, through patience, honesty, and consistency. And that is the power of being rooted in who you are. You become the kind of person whose presence itself is an act of love. You don't need to convince anyone to stay. They stay because the connection feels real, effortless, alive. So if you wish to be loved for who you are, begin by knowing who you are. Stand firmly in that awareness, refine it daily, and let it shape the way you move through the world. Because once you do, you'll find that love no longer needs to be chased. It simply recognizes you when it arrives. Self-awareness is one of those ideas that everyone agrees is important, but few people actually practice deeply. It sounds simple to know yourself, but most of us live our entire lives reacting to our own unconscious patterns. We mistake habits for personality, emotions for truth, and opinions for identity. And when we bring that confusion into our relationships, we end up searching for clarity through other people instead of cultivating it within ourselves. Shi Heng Yi often says, before you can bring harmony to the world around you, you must bring harmony to the world within you. That harmony begins with awareness, the kind of awareness that watches your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions without judgment. When you develop that inner observer, you begin to see the difference between what you feel and what is actually a true. That distinction is powerful. It's what allows you to stop reacting and start responding with intention. Think about it. How many relationships fall apart not because of what was said, but because of what was not understood? One person reacts from fear, the other from insecurity, and neither takes a moment to pause, to breathe, to see what's actually happening inside. Without self-awareness, every emotional storm feels like truth. But once awareness enters, reaction becomes reflection, and reflection becomes choice. When you are aware, you start noticing your patterns, how you pull away when you feel vulnerable, how you talk louder when you feel unseen, how you chase validation when you feel unsure of your worth. Awareness turns unconscious behavior into conscious decision. And that's the foundation of authentic connection. Because the moment you can see your own patterns clearly, you stop projecting them onto others. You stop blaming people for wounds they didn't create. You stop asking love to fix what only awareness can heal. Self-awareness is not about perfection, it's about presence. When you know yourself, you no longer need to perform. You can show up honestly with your strengths and your imperfections and still feel complete. And that honesty creates a space where others feel safe to do the same. This is why awareness deepens love, because it replaces performance with presence and ego with understanding. It's interesting. People often say they want to be loved for who they truly are. But how can someone love the real you if you don't even know who that is? How can they understand you if you've never taken time to understand yourself? Self-awareness is how you uncover that truth. It's how you begin to see not just your story, but the conditioning behind it. The beliefs that drive you, the fears that hold you, the emotions that shape your choices. The beauty of awareness is that it softens you. The more you understand yourself, the less you judge others. You realize that everyone is fighting an internal battle you cannot see. And instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, you begin to respond with compassion. That shift from reaction to reflection changes everything. It transforms not only your relationships but the energy you bring into the world. Shi Heng Yi teaches that awareness is the first step toward mastery. Not mastery over others, but mastery over your own mind. Because when the mind is calm, your perception clears. And when your perception clears, love becomes simple again. You no longer confuse drama for depth or chaos for passion. You can recognize peace when you meet it and you value it. The truth is, awareness gives love a foundation. Without it, love becomes a mirror of confusion. With it, love becomes a mirror of growth. The more aware you are, the more consciously you choose the energy you bring to every interaction. You stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, what am I giving? And in that moment, love transforms from a need into a practice, something you embody rather than seek. So take time to know yourself. Observe your emotions without clinging to them. Watch your thoughts without believing all of them. And when you do, you'll notice something powerful. That love is not something you find in others. It's something you awaken within yourself. Because once you see yourself clearly, you stop needing love to complete you. you start offering it instead. And that, more than anything, is what makes people truly fall in love with you. If the first reason people fall in love with you is who you are, then the second is how you make them feel. Yeah, these two are deeply connected, yet distinct. Who you are speaks to your essence, your values, your inner stability. But how you make others feel reveals how that essence touches the world around you. It's the emotional echo you leave in others' hearts after every interaction. And whether we realize it or not, that echo determines how people remember us, trust us, and ultimately love us. Shi Heng Yi often reminds us that energy is not something abstract. It is the language of human connection. People might not understand your thoughts or agree with your opinions, but they will always remember how they felt in your presence. We sense sincerity without words, and we sense manipulation even when disguised as charm. Energy doesn't lie. The truth is, every conversation, every moment with someone carries an emotional vibration. Some people leave you feeling heavier, confused, or drained, not because they're bad people, but because their inner world is unsettled. Others, even in silence, make you feel calm and understood. That difference is not about what they do or say. It's about what they irradiate. Worse people, realizing it, try to be interesting instead of being interested. They focus on impressing others when what truly connects people is not performance, but presence. Think of the people you admire most, the ones who make you feel at ease, seen, or inspired. Chances are, they are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who listen, who give their full attention, who make space for you to simply be. That presence is magnetic because it's rare. When you make someone feel safe, valued, or uplifted, they associate that feeling with you. The human mind is wired to seek emotional stability. We are drawn to people who help us feel more whole, more peaceful, more alive. It's not the grand gestures or the perfect words that create love. It's the subtle emotional exchanges that say, "You're safe here, you're understood here." That's what builds deep connection. But to give that kind of energy, you must first cultivate it within yourself. You can't make others feel calm if you are internally chaotic. You can't offer peace when you are consumed by noise. This is why emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and regulate your own emotions, is the bridge between self-awareness and genuine connection. When your mind is steady, you stop reacting to others and start responding to them. You begin to sense what they need, not to fix them, but to be fully present with them. People are not searching for perfection. They are searching for resonance. They are looking for those whose energy reminds them of home, not a physical place, but a state of being. When you make others feel seen without judgment, loved without condition, and supported without agenda, you become that rare presence in a world full of noise. But here's the paradox. You don't achieve this by trying to make people feel good. You achieve it by being authentic. When your peace is real, others feel it. When your kindness is genuine, it doesn't need to be advertised. When your attention is sincere, people can sense that they are not being used as a means to your self-image. The most powerful emotional influence comes from alignment, when what you feel, say, and do are one and the same. And that is what Shi Heng Yi teaches in every lesson on harmony, that the energy you give to the world returns to you multiplied. If you carry stillness, you invite stillness. If you carry gratitude, you invite connection. The emotional field you cultivate becomes your silent introduction long before you speak. So how do you make people feel? Not when everything is easy, but when tension arises, when life challenges your patience. Do you bring peace into the room, or do you add to the noise? Because in the end, people don't fall in love with your achievements, your beauty, or even your words. They fall in love with the way their soul feels when it meets yours. And that feeling, that emotional imprint, is what lingers long after you've left the room. So choose wisely the energy you bring. Because how you make others feel is not only how they will remember you, it's how love itself will remember you. When we talk about how you make others feel, it's important to understand that those feelings are not random. They are reflections of your internal state. Every emotion you carry becomes part of the atmosphere you create. This is why some people can walk into a room and instantly shift the mood without saying a word. Their energy speaks louder than their presence. Shi Heng Yi often reminds us that the outer world follows the inner world. If there is chaos within, it will find its way into every interaction, every word, every silence. And if there is peace within, that peace will quietly organize everything around you. Emotional impact is not something you consciously perform. It's something you naturally radiate. Think about it. When your mind is restless, when you're filled with tension, you might smile, but that smile won't feel warm. You might speak kindly, but your tone will carry strain. People sense that. We all do. We may not be able to articulate it, but we feel it immediately. A dissonance between what someone projects and what they truly are. That dissonance creates distance. Authentic energy, on the other hand, creates trust. This is why inner stillness is not a luxury, it's a responsibility. The energy you carry becomes the emotional environment for everyone who interacts with you. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, your partner. You cannot pour peace into another person if your own heart is unsettled. You cannot offer calm if your mind is constantly chasing noise. True emotional presence begins when you stop identifying with the turbulence of your thoughts and begin anchoring yourself in awareness. In psychological terms, this is what emotional regulation really means. Not suppression, but mastery. It's the ability to observe emotion without being consumed by it. When anger rises, you see it, breathe through it, and let it pass. When fear appears, you don't fight it or hide it, you understand it. Over time, this awareness creates an inner stillness that others can feel. It doesn't mean you become emotionless. It means you stop transmitting confusion. When someone with inner stillness speaks, their words carry weight because they come from a place of presence, not reaction. When they listen, they truly listen. Not to respond, but to understand. You can feel when someone is grounded in their own center. They don't rush, they don't force. Their calmness creates safety. And that safety is the foundation of love. The reason this matters is because emotional energy is contagious. Just as one person's anxiety can spread through a group, so can one person's peace. You've experienced this before. When you're around someone who is deeply calm, your own breathing slows, your shoulders drop, your mind quiets. They don't have to say a word. Their state of being communicates everything. That is the silent influence of inner stillness. But cultivating that state requires practice. It means learning to pause before reacting. It means taking time to sit with yourself, to understand your patterns, your triggers, your emotional habits. In stillness, you stop being a prisoner of your emotions and start becoming their observer. From that place, your energy naturally transforms. You become lighter, clearer, more grounded, and others will feel it. Shi Heng Yi teaches that true power is not in control over others, but control over oneself. When your emotions serve your awareness, not the other way around, you begin to live in harmony with life. You stop creating unnecessary conflict, and instead, you begin to bring balance wherever you go. The irony is that people often chase external validation or affection, not realizing that what truly draws love toward you is not effort, but equilibrium. When you are balanced within, you stop draining others with your instability. You stop projecting your pain outward. You become a mirror of serenity. And in that reflection, others see what peace feels like. That is the greatest gift you can offer another person. Not your perfection, not your promises, but your presence. So, If you want to change how people feel around you, begin by changing how you feel within you. The mind that is still sees clearly. The heart that is calm loves deeply. Be the person whose energy brings clarity, not confusion. Because in a world addicted to noise, stillness has become the most powerful form of influence. And remember, love doesn't bloom in the storm of emotion. It flourishes in the silence that follows it. The journey through these ideas brings us to a simple but profound realization. Real love is the meeting point between who you are and how you make others feel. Yet, when these two align, something powerful happens. Connection becomes effortless. You no longer have to perform, to convince, or to chase affection. Instead, love begins to flow naturally from authenticity and awareness. It stops being a pursuit and becomes a reflection. Shi Heng Yi often speaks about balance, the harmony between the inner and outer worlds. He teaches that without balance, strength turns into rigidity and softness becomes weakness. The same is true with love. If you focus only on who you are but remain emotionally disconnected, you risk becoming self-centered, strong in identity but isolated in spirit. If you focus only on how you make others feel but neglect your own authenticity, you lose your center, kind to everyone but disconnected from yourself. Real love requires both, the solidity of inner truth and the fluidity of compassion. When who you are and how you make others feel exist in harmony, your life begins to feel aligned. People sense that alignment. You are not pretending to be kind. Your kindness comes from understanding. You are not acting confident. Your confidence comes from self-knowledge. You are not trying to be loving. Love becomes the natural expression of your balanced state. That is the essence of presence, when your inner world and your outer actions speak the same language. Balance also means accepting imperfection. The pursuit of balance is not about maintaining constant peace, but about returning to it when you drift. Every day you will fall out of alignment. You'll react, you'll get frustrated, you'll lose patience. But awareness allows you to recognize that imbalance quickly and realign. That return, that conscious movement back to center, is what keeps your relationships alive and your energy grounded. Love is not found in the absence of mistakes, but in the willingness to return to truth after them. In this way, balance becomes a living practice. It's how you walk through the world. You don't just carry love as an emotion, you embody it as a state of being. You move through life gently but firmly, kind but clear, compassionate but strong. People feel that. They feel your steadiness, your openness, your calm power. That combination of inner depth and emotional warmth is what draws others to you, not out of dependency, but resonance. This is why the most beautiful relationships are not built on intensity, but on equilibrium. They don't need constant excitement or dramatic highs and lows to feel alive. They thrive in stillness, in mutual respect, in quiet understanding. When two people who are individually balanced come together, they don't complete each other. They expand each other. Their connection doesn't consume, it nourishes. So ask yourself, is there harmony between who I am and how I make others feel? Do I live in a way that reflects both integrity and empathy? This is not about becoming someone different. It's about integrating the parts of you that already exist. Your awareness, your compassion, your truth. When these parts work together, your presence becomes whole. Shi Heng Yi reminds us that mastery is not the absence of imbalance, but the ability to find your center again and again. Love works the same way. It's not static, it's a rhythm, a continuous balancing of giving and receiving, speaking and listening, self and other. When you learn to move gracefully with that rhythm, you stop struggling for love and start living as love. Because ultimately, the purpose of balance is not to be admired or understood, but to bring peace into the spaces you enter. to be the person whose calm inspires calm, whose truth invites honesty, whose presence reminds others of their own center. And so, as you walk through life, remember this: people will fall in love with you for who you are and how you make them feel. But they will stay in love with you when those two become one. Balance them, live them, and let the quiet harmony of your being become your greatest act of love.